The classroom was large and cold, built from smooth silver metal and glowing blue lines. It floated in space, inside the greatest learning station of the galaxy, the Varelian Galactic Academy. Many species studied here. Tall insect-like aliens, heavy stone-skinned beings, thin creatures with glowing eyes. But there was one species missing: humans. Inside the classroom, more than 100 alien students sat in curved rows. They were young, curious, and proud of their civilizations. On the main wall, a giant hologram screen showed a headline in bright symbols: Humans officially banned from advanced survival and combat programs. The room exploded with laughter. Sharp clicking sounds, deep rumbling chuckles, high-pitched squeals of amusement. "They finally accepted it," said Kraxel, a tall reptilian student, his scales shining with pride. "Humans were never meant for serious galactic roles." Another student, Lewin, with 4 eyes and soft blue skin, waved a thin hand. "Emotional. Weak bodies. Short lives. What did they expect?" More laughter filled the room. A smaller alien leaned forward and said, "I heard humans panic when systems fail. They scream. They cry." That made the laughter even louder. At the back of the room, the instructor, Archivist Threx, stood quietly. Threx was ancient, his skin pale and marked with age lines. His eyes were dark and calm. He did not laugh. He raised one long hand. Slowly the noise faded. "This is a history and observation class," Threx said in a deep, steady voice. "Not a comedy show." Some students still smiled, but they became quiet. Threx turned to the hologram and changed the display. New images appeared, old reports, red warning symbols, and sealed data markers. "Humans were banned," Threx continued, "because the Council believes they are unstable and unsuitable." Kraxel leaned back and crossed his arms. "With respect, instructor, the Council made the right choice. Humans are fragile. One mistake and they break." Many students nodded. Threx looked at them for a long moment. Then he asked a simple question. "If humans are so weak," he said, "why are their records classified?" The classroom went silent. No laughter. No whispers. Lewin frowned. "Classified, how?" Threx tapped the control panel. Several files appeared, all marked with restricted and locked by high authority. "These records," Threx said, "are not open to students. Or most instructors." A student near the front shifted uncomfortably. "Then why show us?" "Because," Threx replied, "today's lesson requires context." Kraxel let out a short laugh. "Context for what?" "Their failures." Threx's eyes slowly moved to him. "Context for your judgment." The lights in the room dimmed. The hologram screen went dark. A low hum filled the classroom as the system loaded something old. Very old. "This footage," Threx said, "is from 40 galactic cycles ago. It was removed from public access." Some students leaned forward now. Curiosity replaced mockery. The screen flickered to life. Stars appeared. Endless black space filled with distant light. A human ship drifted into view. It was small compared to modern alien vessels. Its design was simple, almost rough. White metal. Clear markings. Text appeared below the image. UNSC Pathfinder, exploration vessel. A sharp laugh broke the silence. "That ship looks outdated," Lewin said. "No advanced shields." "Primitive," another added. Threx said nothing. The video continued. Inside the ship, humans moved through narrow halls. They wore simple uniforms. Some smiled as they worked. One human held a cup and joked with another. Alien students watched closely now. "These are humans?" someone whispered. The ship's alarms suddenly screamed. Red lights flashed. The classroom tensed. On the screen, human voices filled the air. "Contact on scanners. Unknown life forms approaching fast." The image switched to an external view. Something massive moved in the darkness. Long shapes. Too many limbs. Sharp outlines. A predator species unknown to most of the class. Several alien students gasped. "That's a Carnith swarm," Kraxel said, surprised. "They wipe out colonies." The humans had flown straight into their territory. The alien students smiled again. "This is where it ends," someone said softly. The swarm attacked. Energy blasts struck the human ship. Metal tore apart. Systems failed. Inside the ship, humans were thrown to the floor. Smoke filled the halls. The classroom waited for screams. They expected panic. But instead, the humans moved. One human helped another stand. Another sealed a broken door. Voices stayed calm. "Engineering report. We lost engine 3. We can reroute." "Do it," Kraxel frowned. Why aren't they fleeing? The human captain appeared on screen, a man with tired eyes and blood on his face. His name appeared below. Captain Elias Rowe. Attention crew, Rowe said. We are not outrunning them. We hold position and protect the wounded. Alien students stared. Protect. Lewin said. From that. The swarm hit again. A section of the ship exploded outward into space. Several humans were lost. The classroom became quiet again. One student whispered, "They're dying." Yes, they were. But the humans did not abandon their posts. A human technician sealed a leak with his own body pressed against the wall. Another dragged an injured crewmate through smoke. Why are they still fighting? Kraxel asked, his voice lower now. Threx finally spoke. Observe, he said. The humans armed themselves with basic weapons. Some were damaged. Some barely worked. They took positions. They did not look brave. They looked afraid. But they stood anyway. The screen suddenly froze. The image cut to black. A loud end of clip symbol appeared. The classroom erupted. Where is the rest? They died, didn't they? That's it. Threx raised his hand again. This is only the first segment, he said. And already you laugh less. No one argued. Some students avoided eye contact with the screen. Threx turned back to them. You believed humans were weak because they feel fear, he said. But fear did not stop them. He paused. In the next session, Threx continued, you will see what humans do when escape is impossible. The students sat in silence. The laughter was gone. And somewhere deep inside their minds, a question had begun to grow. What if humans were never weak at all? The classroom stayed silent long after the screen went dark. No one laughed now. The alien students sat still, their earlier smiles gone. Some stared at the floor. Others kept looking at the blank hologram as if the video might continue on its own. Instructor Threx waited. He did not rush them. Silence, he believed, was part of the lesson. At last, a soft voice broke the quiet. They should have escaped, said Lewin. They had time. Threx turned slowly. They chose not to. Kraxel shifted in his seat. They stayed because they had no strategy. That was foolishness, not bravery. Threx did not argue. He simply raised one finger. Let us continue, he said. The lights dimmed again. A warning symbol appeared on the screen. Restricted footage, level 7 clearance required. Several students leaned forward. This is more restricted than the first clip, someone whispered. Threx entered a long code. His hand trembled slightly, not from fear but from age. The video resumed. The human ship was no longer drifting. It was crashing. Flames wrapped around the hull as it fell toward a gray, lifeless planet below. Pieces broke away, burning bright before vanishing. Inside the ship, gravity failed. Humans were thrown against walls. Tools floated. Blood drifted like red mist. The alien students watched, tense and quiet. The ship hit the planet. The impact shook the classroom through the speakers. The video cut to static, then returned. The ship lay broken across black stone. Smoke poured from its sides. The sky above was dark, filled with heavy clouds. Text appeared on screen. Planet designation, uncharted. Atmosphere, toxic. Rescuite, unknown. A student whispered, they're dead. But the video continued. A hatch opened. Human survivors stepped out slowly, wearing damaged suits. Some limped. One was carried by two others. Captain Elias Rowe exited last. He looked around at the empty land. No plants. No movement. Just stone and wind. The classroom waited for fear. But instead Rowe spoke calmly. All right, he said. We survived the crash. That means we're still in this. One human laughed weakly. That's one way to say it, sir. Rowe nodded. Check the injured. Then inventory. We worked the problem. Kraxel narrowed his eyes. Why is he acting like this is normal? Threx answered quietly, because for humans crisis often is. The video jumped forward. Hours passed. The humans built shelter from ship wreckage. They sealed cracks. They filtered the air with damaged equipment. Alien students noticed something strange. The humans shared everything. Food, water, tools. One human was badly injured. His leg was crushed. A medic shook her head. We can't save the leg. The man smiled through pain. Then don't waste meds on me. The medic refused. Not happening. The alien students exchanged looks. That one is a liability, Kraxel said. They should leave him. But they did not. Instead they built a brace. They carried him when needed. The video jumped again. Days passed. The humans looked tired now. Faces thin. Movements slow. Supplies were low. Captain Rowe gathered them together. "We're not getting a rescue signal through," he said. "The swarm damaged our long-range systems." A young crew member asked, "So what do we do?" Rowe took a breath. "We survive long enough to fix it. Or we make this place too expensive for the swarm to return." The classroom stirred. "Too expensive?" Lewin repeated. The video shifted. Humans dug into the rock. They planted explosive charges made from broken power cells. They studied the land, learning where the predators would come from. Alien students watched closely now. "These tactics," one murmured. "They're adapting." Kraxel's voice was quieter than before. "They're turning scrap into weapons." The predators returned at night. The Carnath swarm poured over the hills, shrieking. The humans did not run. They triggered traps. The ground exploded. Fire and stone ripped through the swarm. The classroom gasped. The humans fought with everything they had: guns, blades, even bare hands when weapons failed. They screamed. They cried. But they did not retreat. A human was pulled down by creatures. Another ran forward and dragged him free, taking deep wounds in the process. Lewin looked away. Why would he do that? Threx replied, "Because humans bond deeply. They protect their own." The video jumped again. More days. More attacks. Each time the swarm lost more. But so did the humans. Their numbers shrank. Their faces grew harder. Captain Rowe stood alone one night, staring at the dark horizon. A crew member approached him. "Sir, if they come again we can't win." Rowe nodded. "I know. Then why keep fighting?" Rowe looked back at the shelter where the injured slept. "Because if we stop," he said, "they die." The classroom felt heavy. The video cut abruptly. Static filled the screen. Then a new message appeared. This footage was sealed after the following event. Gasps echoed through the room. "What event?" someone asked. Threx did not answer. The screen showed one final clip. The humans stood together. They were fewer now. Captain Rowe spoke to them. "We send the last signal," he said. "If it works, help comes. If not, we hold." No one argued. They nodded. The signal launched into space. The swarm appeared one final time. Bigger than before. The clip froze just as the creatures charged. The screen went black. The classroom was completely silent. No mocking. No laughter. Even Kraxel said nothing. Threx turned to the students. "This," he said, "is where the public record ends." The student swallowed. Did any survive?" Threx's eyes darkened. "That," he said, "is what you will learn next." The bell sounded, ending the class. No one moved. The aliens had started the day laughing at humans. Now they left with unease in their hearts. Because they had seen something dangerous. Not weakness, but determination. And they feared what the next footage would reveal. The next class began with no laughter at all. The alien students entered the room slowly, their movements quiet and careful. Some avoided looking at one another. Others kept their eyes fixed on the large hologram screen, as if it might speak before the lesson began. Instructor Threx was already there. He stood in the same place, hands folded behind his back. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes carried weight. "You returned?" Threx said calmly. "That means curiosity has defeated comfort." No one replied. Kraxel took his seat without a word. Lewin sat beside him, her four eyes focused forward. Threx raised his hand. "Before we continue," he said, "I will ask again. Do you still believe humans were banned because they are weak?" Silence. Then Lewin spoke, her voice low. "I no longer know." Threx nodded. "That is acceptable." The lights dimmed. The screen lit up. A new warning appeared, darker than before. Restricted footage. Casualty data included. Viewer discretion advised. Some students shifted uncomfortably. The video resumed. The human camp was smaller now. Where once there were many voices, now there were few. Empty sleeping areas lined the shelter. Personal items lay untouched. The sky above the dead planet was red with dust. Captain Elias Rowe looked older. His beard was thick. His uniform torn and stained. He stood before a broken console, working with slow hands. "Signal booster is almost ready," a human engineer said. "But it'll drain everything." Rowe nodded. "That's fine. What about power for weapons?" Rowe looked toward the dark horizon. "We won't need weapons where we're going." The alien students leaned forward. "Where are they going?" someone whispered. The video jumped. The Carnath swarm returned. This time the swarm did not rush. They surrounded the human camp in a wide circle, watching, waiting. A low, deep sound filled the speakers, a sound of hunger. Kraxel stiffened. They're learning. Yes, Threx said quietly. Predators adapt. But so do humans. The humans gathered. Some were badly injured. Some could barely stand. Ro spoke to them, his voice calm but firm. This is it, he said. We either end this, or we don't leave this rock. No one argued. One human smiled weakly. Wouldn't be the first bad day. Another laughed softly. The alien students did not understand the humor, but they felt its weight. The video cut to the humans moving away from their shelter. They carried the signal booster. They walked into a narrow canyon. Why are they leaving cover? Luen asked. Threx answered, because humans understand something simple. The canyon walls closed in. The swarm followed. The ground beneath the predators exploded. The canyon collapsed. Rock, fire, and dust buried the swarm. The classroom gasped. The humans were thrown to the ground by the blast. Some did not get up. The dust cleared. The canyon was gone. So was most of the swarm. Silence followed. Then the signal booster activated. A bright beam shot into the sky. The humans watched it rise. One fell to his knees. Another collapsed beside him. Captain Ro stood alone. He looked up at the beam. Signal is away, he said quietly. The video paused. Text appeared. Human survivors, 9. Original crew, 43. The classroom felt heavy. 9. Out of 43. That's not victory, Kraxel said, his voice rough. Threx turned to him. What is victory, student? Kraxel did not answer. The video resumed. Hours passed. The survivors waited. The swarm did not return. The humans sat together in silence. One asked, do you think anyone heard us? Ro did not lie. I don't know. The sky darkened. Storms formed. Toxic rain fell. The humans pulled their suits tighter. The alien students watched, breath held. Then, a sound, different from the predators. A deep hum. The sky split open with light. Ships appeared. Not human ships. Galactic Council ships. The classroom erupted. They came. They survived. Rescue vessels descended. Armed forces poured out. The Carnath swarm was gone. Wiped out. The humans were carried aboard stretchers. Some cried. Some laughed. Captain Ro collapsed only after he knew the others were safe. The video cut to a council chamber. Alien leaders spoke in urgent tones. The humans destroyed a Carnath nest. With scrap weapons. They held for weeks. A tall counselor slammed a claw on the table. If humans can do this when cornered, he said, what happens if they are threatened on a galactic scale? The classroom grew tense. Another counselor said the words that changed everything. Then humans must never be pushed. The footage froze. Threx turned off the screen. He faced the class. This, he said, is why the footage was sealed. The students stared at him. Humans were banned, Threx continued, not because they failed. He paused. But because they succeeded. Luen's voice shook. They were afraid of what humans could become. Yes, Threx said. Kraxel lowered his head. We laughed at them. Threx's voice softened. You laughed because you saw peace and mistook it for weakness. He walked slowly across the room. Humans are not the strongest species, he said. They are not the fastest. They do not live the longest. He stopped. But when survival becomes a weapon, he said, humans are unmatched. The bell rang. No one moved. The lesson had not ended. It had only begun. As the students left the room, one truth followed them like a shadow. If humans were ever truly unleashed, the galaxy would never be the same. The next session began differently. Security drones hovered near the classroom doors. The lights were dimmer than usual, and a strange symbol glowed above the entrance. Observation in progress. The alien students felt it immediately. This lesson was dangerous. Instructor Threx stood at the center, his posture straight, his face serious. Before we continue, Threx said, you must understand something. What you are about to see was never meant for students. Not even for most council members. A low murmur moved through the room. Kraxel swallowed. Then why show us? Because, Threx replied, the galaxy is changing. And ignorance is no longer safe. He activated the screen. A new label appeared. Post-rescue analysis. Human response pattern. The footage showed a clean white medical room. Human survivors lay on beds connected to machines. Some were unconscious. Some stared at the ceiling in silence. Captain Elias Rowe sat upright, his arm bandaged, his face pale. An alien counselor stood before him, tall and armored. "You defied standard survival logic," the counselor said. "Why?" Rowe looked tired. "Logic didn't matter." "Explain." Rowe's eyes hardened slightly. "My crew mattered." The alien students leaned in. The counselor activated a hologram. Numbers appeared, probability charts, survival models. "According to our calculations," the counselor said, "your chances of survival were less than 4%. You should have fled." Rowe gave a weak smile. "Humans don't live by percentages." The counselor tilted his head. "Then what do you live by?" Rowe answered without hesitation. "Each other." The room felt heavy. The video jumped forward. A council chamber filled the screen. Representatives of many species argued loudly. "The humans are reckless. They destroy themselves. They destroyed the Carnath swarm. That species was a galactic-level threat." "Yes," another voice replied, "and humans wiped it out while half dead." The argument grew louder. Fear filled the room, not of humans dying but of humans enduring. An elder counselor finally spoke. "When humans are pushed," he said slowly, "they do not surrender. They adapt. They escalate." The alien students listened closely. "This behavior," the elder continued, "makes them unpredictable." "And dangerous," another added. The word echoed in the classroom. "Dangerous." The footage shifted again. This time the humans were back on their home world. Earth, cities, oceans, green land. Alien analysts spoke over the images. Humans evolved on a hostile planet. Natural disasters. Predators. Disease. They learned cooperation or extinction. Charts appeared showing human conflict history. Wars. Losses. Rebuilding. Kraxel felt uneasy. "They keep fighting," he muttered. "Even among themselves." "Yes," Threx said quietly. "And still they survive." The video showed something new. Human children. Laughing. Playing. Helping one another. Then the image split. On one side, humans in war. On the other, humans in peace. The narrator spoke. "Humans are not born warriors. They become warriors when forced." The classroom was silent. The footage ended. Threx turned to face the students. "This analysis frightened the council," he said. "They realized something important." Lewin asked softly, "What?" "That humans do not seek dominance," Threx replied. "But if threatened, they will finish the fight." Kraxel clenched his claws. "So the ban was meant to protect us?" "Yes," Threx said. "From humans?" another student asked. Threx shook his head. "No," he said. "From provoking them." The students sat still, absorbing the truth. Then Threx activated the screen one last time. A final message appeared. "Human status. Observed, limited, contained." "Contained?" Lewin whispered. Threx's voice lowered. "The galaxy believed that by keeping humans away from advanced programs, they could control the outcome." Kraxel looked up sharply. "And can they?" Threx met his gaze. "We are about to find out." The screen showed recent footage. Human diplomats speaking calmly. Human ships exploring peacefully. Humans requesting cooperation, not power. "They're asking to join," Lewin said. "Yes," Threx replied. "Not to rule, but to stand equal." The bell rang softly. But no one stood. "Next session," Threx said, "you will witness the consequence of underestimating humans, again." The students slowly rose from their seats. They no longer walked with pride. They walked with caution. Because now they understood the truth. Humans were not a threat because they wanted war. They were a threat because they survived it. And if the galaxy ever forced humanity into a corner again, there would be no laughter left at all. The classroom felt smaller now. The walls had not moved, but the weight inside the room had grown heavy. The alien students sat quietly, their backs straight, their eyes serious. The pride they once carried was gone. Instructor Threx stood near the screen, silent for a long moment. "You have learned why humans were feared," he said at last. "Now you will learn what fear created." The screen activated again. This time the footage was recent. Very recent. A human delegation stood inside a Grand Council hall. They wore simple clothing. No armor. No weapons. Just calm faces and steady eyes. Captain Elias Rowe was among them, older now, walking with a slight limp. The alien students recognized him instantly. "He survived," Lewin whispered. "Yes," Threx said. "And he remembered everything." A council speaker addressed the humans. You request full access to galactic education and defense programs, the speaker said. Why? Ro stepped forward. Because isolation breeds misunderstanding, he said. And misunderstanding breeds fear. The council murmured. Kraxel felt something tighten in his chest. They're not angry, he said quietly. Why aren't they angry? Threx did not answer. The video continued. A council member spoke sharply. Your species has proven dangerous when threatened. Ro nodded. So has every species in this room. Silence followed. Another counselor asked, what assurance do we have that humans will not turn that strength against us? Ro took a slow breath. None, he said honestly. The room stirred. But, Ro continued, we have never sought conquest. Only survival. And cooperation. The alien students watched closely. No threats. No demands. Only truth. The footage changed. Human ships assisted alien colonies after disasters. Humans rescued species that once voted for the ban. Humans rebuilt stations that refused them entry before. They're helping us, Lewin said, confused. After everything. Yes, Threx replied. That is the part the galaxy struggled to understand. The video shifted again. Inside the academy, alien students discussed humans in private chambers. They should not be trusted. They hide their aggression. They smile too easily. The alien students in the classroom looked away in shame. That was us, Kraxel said. Threx nodded. Yes. The footage showed a turning point. A distant colony was attacked by a new threat, faster, smarter than the Carnith swarm. The council forces failed. The humans answered the distress call anyway. Human ships arrived first. They did not wait for permission. They fought. They evacuated civilians. They held the line until reinforcements came. The cost was high. Human casualties filled the screen. Lewin covered her mouth. They didn't have to do this, she said. No, Threx agreed. They chose to. The footage returned to the council chamber. An elder counselor stood, voice trembling. We were wrong, he said. We mistook restraint for weakness. The ban was lifted. But damage had already been done. The video ended. The classroom lights slowly brightened. No one spoke. Finally, Kraxel stood. When we laughed, he said, his voice tight, we laughed at people who would later save us. Lewin nodded. And they never asked for praise. Threx looked at his students. This, he said, is regret. A rare but powerful teacher. A soft alarm sounded. A new message appeared on the screen. Live transmission. The students tensed. The image showed a large hall inside the academy. Humans stood at the entrance. New students. Allowed at last. Whispers filled the classroom. They're coming here? Yes, Threx said. To study. To learn. To stand beside you. The human students entered the hall calmly. Some looked nervous. Some smiled politely. They did not look like conquerors. They looked like students. Kraxel felt his heart pound. What if they hate us? He asked. Threx answered honestly. Some may. Most will not. The transmission ended. Threx turned to the class one final time. You once mocked humans without knowing them, he said. Now you will face them. He paused. How you act next, Threx continued, will decide whether the future repeats the past or becomes something better. The bell rang. The students stood slowly. No one rushed out. As they left the room, Kraxel spoke quietly to Lewin. If they sit beside us, he said, what do we say? Lewin thought for a moment. Maybe, she said, we start by not laughing. Far away, in another part of the academy, a human student looked at the same halls and felt the same weight. History was about to change. Not with war. Not with power. But with understanding. And the galaxy was not ready for how strong that could be. The academy halls had never felt so quiet. Students from dozens of species filled the long corridors, standing in neat lines. No one pushed. No one joked. No one laughed. Eyes followed the same direction, toward the central hall where new students were about to enter. Humans. Kraxel stood with the others from his class. His scales felt tight against his skin. His mind replayed memories of laughter, mockery, careless words spoken when humans were nothing more than a joke on a screen. Now they were real. The doors at the end of the hall slowly opened. A group of humans walked in. They were not many. Just a small group. Men and women of different ages and colors. Some wore simple academy uniforms. Others still had marks of old injuries. They walked calmly. Not proud. Not afraid. Just aware. One human woman glanced around, her eyes taking in the faces staring at her. She did not smile. She did not glare. She simply nodded as if acknowledging the moment. Kraxel felt something twist inside him. "They don't look angry," he whispered. Lewin stood beside him. "That's what scares me." Instructor Threx observed from a distance. His ancient eyes watched both sides, the ones who once laughed and the ones who were once banned. This was the moment the galaxy had delayed for too long. The humans took their seats. By chance or fate, a human male sat beside Kraxel. Kraxel froze. The human turned slightly. His eyes were tired but kind. "Hi," the human said. "I'm Daniel." Kraxel struggled for words. His throat felt dry. I am Kraxel," he finally said. Daniel nodded. "Nice to meet you." That was it. No anger. No accusation. Just a greeting. The class began. Threx stood at the center of the hall. "Today," he said, "we conclude a lesson that began long before any of you were born." He looked toward the humans. "Humanity has been studied, feared, restricted, and misunderstood." He turned back to the alien students. "And today humanity studies us in return." A soft tension filled the room. Threx activated the final projection. It showed a single image. A simple line of text. "Final record, human response to galactic ban." The video played. Captain Elias Rowe appeared once more. Older. Grayer. Standing before a recording device. "This is a personal statement," Rowe said. "Not a military one." He paused. "When humans were banned," he continued, "we were hurt. Confused. Some of us were angry." The alien students watched, breath held. "But most of us asked a simple question," Rowe said. "Why?" The video showed images of Earth. Humans rebuilding cities. Humans training. Humans studying the stars. "We chose not to answer fear with fear," Rowe said. "We chose patience." Kraxel lowered his eyes. The footage shifted. Human engineers working alongside aliens. Human doctors treating non-human patients. Human rescue crews pulling alien children from ruins. Rowe's voice continued. "We could have proved our strength," he said. "But strength is easy." The image returned to Rowe's face. "Restraint," he said, "is harder." The video ended. Silence filled the hall. Threx let it linger. Then he spoke. "The council expected anger," he said. "They prepared for rebellion." He looked toward the humans again. "They received cooperation instead." A low murmur spread. One alien student stood up. His voice shook. "We were wrong," he said. "About all of it." Others rose. One by one. Words of apology filled the hall, not loud, not dramatic, but honest. Kraxel stood too. He turned to Daniel. "When we were younger," Kraxel said, "we laughed at humans. We thought you were weak." Daniel listened quietly. Kraxel bowed his head. "I am sorry." Daniel did not answer immediately. Then he spoke. "We know," he said. "You didn't know us." Kraxel looked up. "And now?" Daniel smiled slightly. "Now," he said, "we sit in the same room." That simple sentence hit harder than any accusation. Threx watched with something like pride. The lesson was complete. But history was not. Later that day, news spread across the academy and the galaxy. Human students excelled. Not because they dominated, but because they collaborated. They helped slower species. They adapted to different methods. They shared knowledge freely. Some aliens were still afraid. Some still cautious. But none laughed. Weeks passed. Joint projects formed. Mixed teams trained together. And something strange happened. The galaxy felt safer. Not because humans were the strongest, but because humans refused to be enemies unless forced. In a quiet moment, Lewin asked Threx a question. "Why did you show us the footage?" she asked. Threx looked toward a window where stars drifted slowly. "Because," he said, "one day the galaxy will face something worse than the Carnath swarm." Lewin felt a chill. "And then?" Threx answered softly. "Then we will want humans standing with us. Not apart from us." Far away, Captain Elias Rowe watched the Academy broadcast from Earth. He saw humans and aliens sitting together, learning, arguing, laughing, this time with respect. He allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had not demanded its place. It had earned it, not through power, not through fear, but through endurance, loyalty, and restraint. And for the first time in galactic history, the truth was clear to all. Humanity was never weak. Humanity was waiting. Waiting for the moment when the galaxy would finally be ready to understand that the most dangerous species is not the one that seeks war, but the one that survives it, learns from it, and still chooses peace.